Okay, in this section we're going to talk about peripherals. You know, peripherals like periphery or peripheral vision. Oh my gosh, what's that on the side of my face? There you go, there's something over here and something over here. Peripherals, right? So that's the other stuff that you plug into a computer. Now, the most common one, of course, is a keyboard and a mouse. Okay, you probably have a keyboard and a mouse. And we have a lot of problems with people who have problems with keyboards and mice. The most biggest problem is that it's out of batteries. Okay, I've had people too that swear there's no batteries in their wireless keyboard and mouse. And that's impossible, because if there's light coming out of a keyboard or a mouse, there's an energy source that's putting the electricity out, right? So everything that's wireless has a battery inside of it. I had some people once say their keyboard wasn't working, and I said, well, is it wired or wireless? And they said, well, I just don't know. And I said, well, how could you not know? See if there's a wire. She goes, I just don't know. I said, I don't know how you cannot know. It's got a wire, or there's no wire coming out of it. I said, okay, try this. Grab the keyboard with both hands, okay, and now walk backwards. If you keep walking, it's wireless. If you stop in about 3 feet, it's wired. And she found out, oh wait, it's wired. So she found out she had a wired keyboard, but it's pretty simple. There's a wire. Same thing with the mice, okay? Now, wireless mice have batteries inside of it. I've had people who swear there's no battery in here, but there is. So you've got to find out how to replace those, because about every year to a year and a half, the batteries are going to die. No matter what you do, you've got to replace the batteries. So this one opens up, it's got batteries inside, and you pull them out and put them back in. We have been in people's houses before who have done that with our help, put the batteries into their mouse and put them in backwards. You know, there's a little plus and minus on the way which way you put the batteries. You've got to look really closely on each one of these to make sure you're putting it in the right direction. Same thing with the keyboard. If it's a wireless keyboard, pretend like this, wireless keyboard, there's going to be a hatch on the bottom. You've got to unplug that, put the batteries in the same way you found it, put it back in, okay? If you're on an Apple keyboard, it's actually on the side. It's really cool. It looks like a giant silver thing right here. You unplug that, or you unscrew that, and the batteries go this way along the back of the keyboard. So that's the keyboard and the mouse. Wireless ones like this are really cool. Look at this. It's made out of bamboo. So this is grown in the forests of China, and we have some of those, and those are really cool. Okay, we're going to talk about printers. My technicians have said to me, please, can we tell people we will not help you with your printer? Now that's a really kind of ridiculous thing to say, because everybody has a printer, but they are headaches, even for computer people, because they're not reliable. Okay, there's more moving parts in this printer than there is in your entire computer. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong, okay? So this thing over here, for instance, is one that has the paper, and then it's a printer, oops, and then a scanner, okay? So you put the papers in there, or a sheet feeder. So you put the papers in here, it goes around and it comes out the bottom for you to copy things or to fax something to somebody. Oh, then it's a fax machine. Oh. And so it does a lot of things in a printer. But I'm going to go through some of the basic troubleshooting of it. First thing is that it could be out of ink. So when you have your inkjet printers, those are the ones with the really small cartridges, okay? We're like a Tic Tac container. Those run out about every 6 months to a year. No matter what you do, they're going to run out of ink, even if you don't use your printer. Because those are, it's like a felt tip pen. If you leave a felt tip pen out on your desk, it may work and it may not work for 6 months. Or 6 months later, or a year later, that felt tip pen may dry out. So the same thing with inkjet printers. Those cartridges usually need to be replaced in 6 months to a year. Usually if one runs out, you have to buy all of them. Instead of just buying the black, you might as well buy 3 other colors, because the other ones are going to go out pretty soon anyway. The black does go out more often than anything else. Now this printer here is called a laser printer. So it only prints in black and white. Right? It prints in black on white paper, and you have to find the cartridge. This is what this cartridge looks like. So this is $60 compared to one of the other smaller cartridges in your inkjet. But the great thing about this is that these only need to be replaced every year or two, because there's so much toner in there. Toner like a Xerox machine, you know, with a dry powder. So this doesn't ever dry out because it's already dried out. So every once in a while you just have to replace this cartridge right here with one that's full. You can try replacing these yourself. This one has a hole right here, that you can get into and you can put the ink in there. I have tried to do that before, and I have ruined 2 pairs of pants in my history because of getting so much ink on my body. So you want to try it. It's going to save you about 10 bucks. If you don't want to buy new pairs of pants, then just go to the store and buy one, or better yet, look on Amazon. So the price of all retail locations is going to be about $60 to $80 for one of these. I'd say this is about $30 or half price when you go online. These have a number right here. On this one it says it right here. You can also look at the number of your printer, which is up here, to order those cartridges. The great thing about ink, laser printers is if you're ever out of ink, you shake it. Okay, it just gets the dust going in there again. You put it back in, and you'll be good for another month or so. So that's the thing about those things. You'll often get paper jams if you're doing something here. Whenever you're printing something with paper, and if it has staples in it or something sticky, don't put it in there. We have a lot of people who put labels in there that are old and drying out. They will go in, and the labels will not come out. They'll get stuck inside of the rollers. And it's really expensive to fix a printer. It's usually about $150 an hour. We don't even do this. And then you have to pay for the parts to fix the printer. So it's so expensive, it's usually better just to try your own diagnostics like what I'm telling you about. So let's say you got some stuff stuck and there's some labels in there. Look around, because there's usually a way to get in there. So on this one, you've got a way to open it up, and there might be some labels stuck in right here, okay? Or we could look underneath here, see if there's anything, okay? We could lift it up, and there might be some labels back here. You can also get paper jams in the rollers as the paper's coming out. All printers get paper jams. Okay, you want to make sure the paper's in straight. But let's look at this. You know, as the paper goes in the top and it comes out the bottom. Now let me show you what most people do when you get a paper jam. It'll stop right there and you can't pull the paper out. So people will go like this. I can't get paper out. And I find it tends to be males who have done this because they're not thinking and they just use brute strength. If I use brute strength, I will fix my printer. So they go like this. I can't get a paper out. And they rip out the paper. So the thing is that the other half of the paper is still stuck in the computer. And it's in so far you can't pull it out anymore. So now you're in a way worse jam than you were before, because you've got to get in there and there is no way to get in there without taking apart this entire printer at $150 to pay somebody to do this, and it's not worth it for your $100 printer. So whenever you do get something stuck in the printer, you use 2 hands, one on each side of the printer, and pull it very slowly out. You're not supposed to do that, well, because the rollers are in gear, but that's the only way you're going to get this paper out. So pull it very carefully, straight out, and you'll be able to get your paper out clearly. Now, one thing with certain printers like this one and HP printers in particular that are larger like this, on the back, there is a secret compartment. So the secret compartment will let you get inside there to get the paper jam out. This is where the paper is usually jammed, in the back of the printer. So you're gonna reach in there, try to get it off the rollers, and slowly pull it out, and then make sure this is shut. This is not shut, and your printer won't work. So just make sure it's slammed all the way. But the most common thing that you need to do with printers is unplug it. I know it's weird, but unless it's a paper jam, if you can't print to your printer, you need to physically unplug it from the power, okay? And just like a computer, you unplug it, wait a couple minutes, and plug it back in. That dissipates electricity. The buttons on the front of a printer that say on and off, wherever this one is, are not the on and off buttons. They're standby. When you turn it off and all the lights go out, it's still on. You turn it back on, it's on. You turn it off, it's on. It's always on when you use the buttons in the front. You've got to reach around the back of the printer and unplug it. Here in our office, we have to unplug our printers once every week or 2. It just happens. Electricity happens, power surges and things like that. We have to physically go behind our printer, unplug it, wait a couple seconds and plug it back in, and then all of our papers shoot out the printer that we were trying to print. Okay, so that's basically some of those peripherals. Now we're going to go to one of these other areas that you could pick. Your choice, and we'll see you soon.